Hi guys, welcome to episode 5 of the Gas Bike Build. This episode we have a special guest test rider of the Gas. So let's get into it. Right Jack, so you had a ride of the bike on the motocross and the enduro track. What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's a good bike, a lot more power than mine. I definitely was probably a lot better on the motocross track than in the bush. I felt the weight a lot more in the bush. I'm not a very big bloke, so...
Yeah, so the bike is sprung, we reckon, about 35 kilo heavier than Jack's, so it was stiff, but it looked good when I was watching you ride it there. It looked good, looked like it was moving and you looked quite quick on it.
Yep, I didn't feel too bad.
So coming off the 252 straight, you said that the 350 surprised you with how much power it had.
Yeah, it just comes off the bottom a lot stronger. You have to use a lot less clutch through the corners and you can hold third instead of dropping back to second all the time.
Would you want any more power? Would you want to go to a 450 or a 500?
No, definitely not.
No.
No, that's got plenty of power.
Oh, so what did you think of the brakes? Everyone bags the brake tech brakes out, but what do you think?
I actually didn't really feel that much of a difference between the Brembos and the brake tech. They came on pretty hard. The clutch was a bit different. Felt like it engage a lot earlier in the action of the clutch, but once you got used to that, it was all good.
Alright, keep an eye out for Jack at the Queensland Off-Roads next year. So a big thanks to young Jack for coming out and test riding the bike. Now, Jack did elaborate on that he was very surprised by the power of this bike. Now he's coming off his 252 stroke. I did have a ride of it and it is very mellow power compared to the 350. That's just the way he's got it set up. But it was interesting, after he did the first couple of little test laps of that bike, he just immediately come up to me and was kind of blown away at the bottom end power of this bike.
That hooks, eh? This thing, compared to that. Well, off the bottom.
I'm a bit bummed that I didn't get anyone to ride for the remap and the muffler mod.
Yeah, well, I reckon
Such a choked up farm bike, man.
That hauls now.
Like it's
like I wouldn't want any more power than that.
It's a bit surprising for a 358.
Yeah.
And like if you rev it, the power just keeps going.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is with that remap and that muffler mod, because before that the bike was very choked up. So while we were out there, I did send Jack to do one of the local training loops on his bike and then on the gas back to back. And to both of our surprise, he was only 12 seconds slower on the gas over a 5.5 minute loop. Now keep in mind that he'd only ridden this bike for about 20 minutes at that stage, and this suspension is set up for about 95 kilo and Jack is about 65 kilo, so it's sprung much heavier than for him. So Jack said it felt heavier and a bit slower, but even he was surprised that it was only 12 seconds slower over 5.5 minutes. So something interesting to note there. Now, last episode was the 10-hour service mark, so I didn't really cover too much of what I did. Everything was just a basic service of the bike following the manual. The only two things I did do is I replaced the stock coolant with this engine ice coolant. I've been using it for years. I think it's a really good coolant. It just helps the bike stay a little bit cooler in the hot weather. And the other one was just replacing that stock filter with a funnel web filter. Been running these for probably 10 years now. I love them. I feel like they give you a bit longer service life than a standard filter, and I've never had any dramas running them. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any suggestions in the future for riders you want to test ride the bike, whether it's a hard enduro guy, a weekend warrior, or a motocross bandit, leave a comment below. And if you have any other suggestions or tips on mods to do to the bike, or things maybe that I should test or cover in the future episodes, let me know. Until then, safe riding, take it easy. And if you would like to watch the whole raw GoPro of Jack out in the enduro loop on this bike, it'll be right here. See you next episode.